Welcome back to the Wandering Luke channel. Today we're going to talk about something I wish I had when I first started an Airbnb in the Orlando area. Some things I wish I knew before I got involved as an Airbnb or any really short-term rental host in the greater Orlando area around Disney World, Universal Studios, Legoland, if you want to go out there, SeaWorld. There's so many great amusement parks and things to do in the greater Orlando area. It's really turned into a massive travel destination, and it seems to be getting bigger and bigger by the day. And that's really drawn a lot of investors like myself who are getting out of long-term rentals and moving into short-term rentals like I did. Got out some long-term rentals in Michigan, and I'm focusing on short-term rentals in the Orlando, Florida area. And it's great. It's actually, for me, for my case, been more profitable. Now everybody will be different. Where you live really dictates a lot about rental properties, what's the demand for it, and so much more. So you really need to do your research on it. But I'm going to talk about a few things here that I wish I had known once I decided that this was the right move for me and my family down to Florida. So keep that in mind. Now, first of all, right off the bat, if you can help us grow this brand new channel, I have a tech review channel, I have a gaming channel, I'll put links to those down below. But if you want to help us, we would really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. So hopefully they recommend our videos to more people. We would really appreciate it, as I hope this video helped you learn something new about being an Airbnb host in the greater Orlando, Florida area. All right, so right off the bat, let's talk about expectations in the Orlando, Florida area. Let's be honest, renters in the greater Orlando area, especially if they're going to Disney World, the parks, have a little bit higher expectations, I find, than ones if I'm just renting here in Michigan. They want that Disney experience right from your Airbnb right off the bat. Now, that does not mean you need your Airbnb to be all Disney-fied. Let's be honest, many of the Disney hotels have very subtle Disney-fication. I think what it really means, it's not the decorations, it's the customer service, it's the quality of whatever it may be. That the units are in good shape, they're clean, they're in a nice area, and they have easy accessibility to the parks. It's important to know that. So I would encourage you to pay a lot of attention that, hey, in Michigan, if I have an Airbnb, I may be able to get away with some mismatched furniture, maybe a unit that looks a little weird because I'm offering a good rate, it's a big house, nice location, whatever. I find this in Florida a lot less so. I find a lot of renters have higher expectations of what they want when it comes to renting around there. So keep that in mind. The other thing is, I get this question is, can I rent an Airbnb without pool? Yeah, you can. You definitely can. Not all Airbnbs, Verbos, whatever it may be that you're renting on, has a pool in their unit. But I will say they definitely rent for a lot less. Definitely it's a discouragement. Even if in your HOA or your community or your resort, if you're in one of those short-term rental resorts, has a community pool, a lot of renters I find still want pools on their units. So keep that in mind. When you're looking, that really goes into my next point. When you prepare and you're looking at, hey, I want to make X amount of money, can I really make that? You really need to pay close attention that you're comparing your unit to like units online. And the reason I say that is it's very easy to start looking at units and realize you're not comparing apples to apples. I often see this on listings. Oh, I have another unit that's making $50,000. I'm sure you can do that here every year. Well, the other unit has a few more bedrooms, has a bigger pool, a nicer community, 3 times closer to Disney World, for example. So keep that in mind. There is a lot to be said about location, location, location. And being closer to Disney definitely brings you a lot more money, being closer to Universal and other areas than being farther away. People really do look at that. So keep that in mind. So again, there's a higher expectation in the Orlando area of the quality of how clean the units are, the quality of the furnishings, the quality of the units overall. People are a lot more picky, I find, than they are living in other areas. I also find that has a little bit to do with the fact that they're there on vacation to go to Disney, and they got Disney in their mind, they got Universal in their mind, they got a certain level of customer service they're already expecting. So keep that in mind. Location, similar units, when you're pricing out, how much you can really make, it's very easy to get trapped into, well, here's a 5-bedroom, I have a 5-bedroom, yeah, we're good, we can get this amount of money. Well, that other 5-bedroom has a pool, it's screened in, it's in a resort, it's only 2 minutes from the main gate, 5 minutes from the main gate, whatever. You're 15 minutes from the main gate, you have no pool, you have a community pool that's way on the other side of the resort. Keep that in mind. Next up, being available. I do find that the Airbnb customers in Orlando are different than I find in other parts of the country because they are much more likely to call in with issues and so forth. And the higher turnover rate, it's very common to get an Airbnb customer for just a long weekend, a 4 or 5 day stay versus 2 or 3 weeks. I get 2 or 3 week stays, I get 5 day stays, I get a long weekend around holidays and more. Where in other communities, it's much more common to get longer stays. Very rare do people check in for a day or two and then check out, for example. So keep that in mind. Now, that means you need to be there, right? You're expecting lots of high turnover rates. In Michigan, if I have a cottage up north, I can just say, hey, you minimum book it for a week. I know once a week I need to go up there, transfer it over. In Orlando, I may have 2 or 3 guests in a week. So keep that in mind. So for me, I use a property management company, which are great. I mean, it's always best if you live there to be able to do it yourself. You're not paying for all that property management fees. You're not giving them 20%, whatever. On the flip side, and also when you're there, you get to make sure it's done your way. On the flip side, though, I found a really good property management company who does everything. They manage the bookings, they do the cleanings, they do the laundry, they transfer it, they do all beautiful marketing photos, all kinds of stuff. Very experienced, very good company, very happy with them. On the flip side, there's bad companies. I've been there too. You really need to do your research. There's so many property management companies in the Orlando, Florida area. If you're buying a particular community and there's a Facebook group for that community, or you just happen to run into some people who own in that community that rent, ask them. First-hand recommendations I find are by far the best when it comes to picking a property management company. Beyond that, do a lot of research. Look at their Google reviews. Look at their Facebook reviews. Do a lot of research. Once you pick a property management company, don't be afraid to switch it. Be very careful of them overcharging you fees. I've heard property management companies charging the renter a cleaning fee and the seller a cleaning fee. Or the landlord, I should say, a cleaning fee. I don't pay cleaning fees. My renters do that. The only time I pay a cleaning fee per my contract is if I stay. I've agreed to pay them a cleaning fee when I leave, which I actually like, because then I don't have to worry about cleaning my unit when I go down there for a vacation with my family. And so I get to pick up and leave, and then they come in and clean it and make it all nice for the next renter. So that's actually nice for me. But just be careful about all the little knick-knack fees that a lot of these places will try to slip into you. Compare. Know what is really the norm. The seller paying, or the landlord, I'm so used to being a realtor, the landlord paying a cleaning fee and the renter is not normal. But some companies have been trying to slip those in on companies out there, so keep that in mind. Lastly, be careful about expecting it to always be full. Now, of course, we had the pandemic, and this put a lot of Airbnb customers in big trouble. They had a big mortgage on the property. They counted on the mortgage to cover the cost of, or the Airbnb covered the cost of the mortgage. Well, when the parks closed, the renters canceled. But it doesn't even have to be a pandemic. A bad hurricane season can scare away a lot of people. People cancel ones. It's not uncommon to have 2 or 3 hurricanes in a single season affect multiple weeks worth of rentals as people cancel due to state of emergencies. And guess what? They're going to get their money back more typically. Not Airbnb is going to side with them. They say, hey, a hurricane was hitting. I had to cancel mine because there was a state emergency telling me not to go. Disney was closed because of a hurricane. Keep that in mind. If you are buying with a mortgage, it's always best to buy with cash in these kind of things because then you don't have to worry about mortgage. But it's also, there's something to be said about using mortgages, and there's plenty of people who can explain that better than I can. But make sure you can put a big enough down payment down that if for some reason you are not able to bring in any rent that month, or for a couple months in a row, you would be okay being able to cover the cost of that rental. Don't find yourself in a situation where 2 or 3 months of a pandemic, of a couple of hurricanes, whatever, can force you to be selling your Airbnb at a loss because you haven't owned it really long enough to have the value increase enough to make it worth it, or finding yourself in a position where, hey, I'm now upside down, I'm facing foreclosure, etc. It really does not take much because it is very common that, hey, you're going to have a couple bad months. It's an off season. The number of Airbnbs seem to be skyrocketing every day, whatever. That you may find yourself in a position where, hey, December, January were amazing. Maybe May wasn't that great. Maybe it was July that wasn't great, or September wasn't that great. Am I prepared to cover that? I find a lot of new Airbnb hosts just think it's always going to be full. I'm going to rent, I'm always going to be full. So keep that in mind. Lastly, make your unit as efficient as possible, especially if you live far away. I highly recommend a few things. A Ring doorbell. Don't put security cameras in your unit. But I do have security cameras on my Ring doorbell. Helps me track to make sure people actually show up if they try to claim they never came in. That Ring doorbell allows me to say, yeah, here's a video of you walking in, entering the code on the door, and walking into the house. You have to disclose on the Airbnb and other places, but just be aware of that. 2, upgrade to a Wi-Fi thermostat so that, for example, you can set ranges on a lot of these thermostats where it says it's not allowed to go, say, heating over 75, cooling below 70, for example. I can't tell how many times I've stayed in an Airbnb where the heat was cranked to 82 when I checked in, or the air conditioning was cranked all the ways down. Keep that in mind. Invest in LED light bulbs. All these kind of things. Make sure you're changing out the air filters. I also like it for a Wi-Fi thermostat that, hey, I had a guest check out. It's a Sunday night. I don't have another guest check in until Thursday, for example. I'm going to go in the winter, lower the heat down to 65, 60, whatever. In the summer, maybe I'll raise the temp up to 78. I once checked in a unit. It was 66 degrees in air conditioning in Florida in the middle of summer, cranking the air conditioner was cranking at its max capacity. That's not good for your air conditioner, much less the power bill. So really look into how you can automate this system, how you can keep an eye on it. Don't be putting spy cameras in your place. You have to disclose these. I only have a Ring doorbell in the front door. It's the only place that they can enter a code to come in and out of my unit. So that helps me to say, hey, yeah, you did check in, or you did not check out when you said you did, for example. Keep that in mind. So do your research. Right now, prices on these Airbnb type places are skyrocketing. Know if your area allows Airbnb. So I highly recommend you get a realtor if you're buying. Don't buy sight unseen. A lot of places will try to talk you into that. There are parts of Orlando where you are not allowed to do an Airbnb, no short-term rentals. There's other communities like Kissimmee and Davenport and more, the Greater Four Corners area we'll call it, which is very short-term rental friendly, very popular with short-term rentals. That's actually where I put most of my rentals. So keep that in mind. Do your research. Understand that people have, I think, higher expectations when they come to Orlando than they do if it was just some random town in the middle of the Midwest and they're Airbnb-ing it. They want a little nicer quality, they want the pool, they want the resort amenities in a lot of communities that now offer this. Know your property management. Don't be afraid to keep shopping around for a better one. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm not happy with whatever they're doing. Ask them to do something different. So keep that in mind. And do some work to make the unit a little self-sufficient. So even if you're not there, you can check on that through the Ring doorbell. You can adjust the thermostats. You can lock it. I really don't get why people need to set the heat up to 90 degrees, but people do that kind of stuff. Having a smart thermostat can really control your bills by giving them a reasonable range. You know, don't be one of these people that's like, hey, the max you can do your heat is 66 degrees in the middle of Michigan winter. No. Maybe we say, hey, you can't really go over 75, 77 degrees with heat. You can't go below 60 or 70 with air conditioning. So honestly, a 70-degree air conditioner is pretty low in my opinion. That's a pretty reasonable one. Just disclose that in the renter's book. Hey, thermostat's locked to these ranges. You can set anywhere between 65 on heat all the way up to 75, and maybe 70 to 80 or 70 to 77, whatever it may be on heating. Those will really help you save money, help protect your units from being overworked and damaged. So there you go. There are a few things I wish I knew when I got into being a short-term rental like Airbnb around the Orlando Disney World area. If this video helped you, let me know. If you have any you would like to add, any tips, leave me a comment, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. So until next time, take care, be safe. Check out my channel. I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe or hit that thumbs up so you can let YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. We'll be back real soon. Take care.